Hello, it's me, Scar, and today we're going to be talking about atonement theories. So buckle up, because it's going to be a fun ride. An atonement theory is an explanation of how Jesus' death and resurrection on the cross was needed to reconcile the relationship between God and humanity. A lot of different people hold a lot of different views about how these interact with each other and entangle with each other, and whether more than one can be true at the same time, which I personally believe to be true. It's really hard to study these and think of these atonement theories without embracing the fact that, yeah, more than one person is probably right on this. And according to scripture, multiple of these seem to be kind of alluded to or referenced. So as I chat about them, I'm going to give some scripture references floating right here next to my head so that you can kind of dive deep into them. One of the most popular theories is the Penal Substitution theory, which is basically where Jesus' death and resurrection paid for the sins of humanity in order to satisfy God's justice and wrath, in order to reconcile God's relationship back with humanity. And penal substitution theory is very similar to what some people call the satisfaction theory, which is where Jesus' death on the cross was satisfying God's wrath in order to, restore the ability for humanity to be forgiven. So they're very similar, and some might even say they're basically the same, which is, again, why sometimes multiple things can be true at the same time. Now, this is a little bit different than the ransom theory. Now, the ransom theory you might think of when you think of the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And this is where humanity has a debt that they owe to the Satan. And Jesus has to die to pay that debt. The theory is in itself its name. Jesus' death was a ransom paid to Satan in order to free humanity from sin and death. A theory that I find really interesting that I didn't know how popular it was the recapitulation theory. And essentially, this is like a redo of Adam's life. So Jesus had to live a perfect life and die and get resurrected in order to redo Adam's life and to restore the rightful relationship that humanity was supposed to have with God, because Jesus came as human. The Victor theory I hear in a lot of sermons that are meant to be super, super inspiring, and you probably have heard something thrown out, maybe even in a worship song or in one of those really motivational Sunday morning sermons. And what it is that Jesus was the victor over death and sin. Jesus's death defeated darkness, defeated evil in order for humanity to be reconciled with God. The idea is that Jesus was the only way for death and darkness and sin and evil to be defeated in order for humans to have room to restore their relationship with God. Then there's the moral influence theory, and this one's a little strange to me. But there's a lot of what you might call an offshoot theory of this. Some people have kind of taken this theory and twisted it. But what it is that Jesus died and was resurrected to be a big example of God's love and power for humanity to begin making choices and living a life that is in pursuit of God and restoring and reconciling their relationship with God. And some people think that this theory is true, but more so for society, that it's not as much about the personal decisions of one in their, private life, but it's more for society as a whole, that God showed this big example of love in order for humanity and society as a whole to show big examples of love. There's a lot of twists and turns when it comes to the moral influence theory, and a lot of people have a lot of different ideas about how possibly the moral influence theory could be tied to other theories. And I think that possibly the moral influence theory could be true, but I don't think that it can stand alone. I think it has to go along with another theory. And the last one we're going to talk about, I think of the same way, where I think it's a good theory and it could possibly be true, but I'm just not sure that it can stand on its own. And that is the mystical theory. The theory suggests that the knowledge of Christ's triumph over death is what inspires and awakens the desire for a God-like mindset, God-like living, righteous living. It's what encourages people to pursue the power of God. And with the mystical theory and with the moral influence theory, I just don't feel like there's enough for them to stand on their own, for that to be enough of a reason for Jesus's perfect life, death, and resurrection on the cross. But like I said, everybody has a different opinion on these. So it's really fun to talk about and think about. But at the end of the day, maybe more than one person can be right. I'm going to be putting some suggestions for books that I've read down in the description. So if you're interested in learning more about atonement theories and how people have come to different conclusions, I would definitely recommend checking those books out. Thanks for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And let me know in the comments what you guys want to chat about next. Okay, bye.